What up? What up? All right, so I've been watching a lot of videos or reading a lot of articles of people's experience of drinking ayahuasca down in Peru specifically. Um, so I figured I would share my ayahuasca experience. It was about 5, 6 months ago, so I went in August. I was there for 8 days, in Peru for 8 days. The first 4 days were a jungle excursion down in a different area at a jungle lodge just off the river, uh, off the Amazon River, and that was awesome. That was full of learning about plants, animals, tons of hikes through the jungle, which was awesome. Uh, Lots of boat rides and food made by the locals, which was amazing, authentic Peruvian cuisine. Yeah, it was fantastic. Uh, so I don't want to get too much into that, but I mean, if you're interested in that part of it, kind of experience when you're going down to Peru and not just ayahuasca, then check out pulsetours.com. They also have other packages that go to Machu Picchu and Brazil and all around the world. So check them out. But so that's the first half of that trip. So day 3 or 4, on a Tuesday, we went down to Niue Rao, which is the ayahuasca center just outside of Iquitos, Peru. So Iquitos is the city that is kind of the launching point for a lot of these ayahuasca experiences around Peru. Iquitos itself, there's no way into the city from the outside through the road. So all the roads are self-contained. I think we went probably almost the farthest out that you can go in Iquitos, so like an hour out is where is where Niue Rao was for the ayahuasca. So from the Jungle Lodge, we left to go to Niue Rao, about a 4-hour trip. The last quarter of that trip was hilarious. It had just finished raining, so about the last hour to the retreat, it was just pure mud road, and we were in these motor taxis. So it's like a motorcycle with a cab in the back, 2 people. So we were on that, and yeah, that was crazy. At some points, we had to get off, and help push the cab along the mud, or get out just so he can have less weight in the vehicle, so he can drive over the mud. It was nuts. There were some bridges that we went over that probably wouldn't qualify as bridges anywhere else. Kind of. There's one bridge. It was missing like a piece of wood. Just it was gone. It was a gap we drove over. And those tires. I mean, they take a lot of damage, but they're like dirt bike tires. Like they can definitely go. So, anyways, there was some adventure. Some last adventure after our jungle adventure in Peru there. So we get to the ayahuasca retreat. It's like 3 or 4 p.m. We get to our rooms. Shown our rooms. Our beds are nice, covered in mosquito nets as well as the cabin itself. It's 2 beds, 2 rooms. So I was partnered up with someone else in our tour group, and then that night was going to be the first ceremony at 8 p.m. So before that, we had to actually go to the Maloka, which is the big round house. I'll show a picture of it, where the ceremony takes place. So we went in there. Our group went in there, the ones that just arrived, to talk to the shamans and a helper there that takes notes, to discuss our intent for drinking ayahuasca and what we hope to get out of it. So it got to me, and my main reason for going down there was I have a social anxiety disorder, and it kind of made life just a lot harder than it should be otherwise. But yeah, so my main intention was to hopefully to get rid of that, and I also I would love career advice. Sort of, I was kind of lost at that point, not knowing what it is I wanted to do. So I was seeing if I can get any sort of knowledge on that. if dealing with the disorder wasn't enough. So that night, 8 p.m. we sat down. The shaman started handing out the drinks. Comes to me. I go up, sit down in front of the shaman. He basically, based on the information I gave earlier and just what energy he gets off me when he sees me, he figures out a dose to give you. So I had about a quarter of the cup, maybe like this much, in like a small glass. It was gross. It wasn't as gross as I was expecting it to be though. It tastes a bit like Jägermeister mixed with old coffee. The first drink is actually the easiest, weirdly enough. The more you get used to the flavor, the more it becomes disgusting. It's actually kind of funny. It's like the opposite of acquiring a taste for food. Like you start out despising it, and then you just keep hating it more the more you have it. So by that third time, it was fucking disgusting. So I drink it down. And then 20 minutes in, so all the lights are out, just some candles on near the shamans on the other side of the room. And there's enough light coming in from the stars and this moonlight to light our pathway to the washrooms that are about 30 feet away, 30 or 40 feet away outside. It's four stalls in there, full doors. And only one time had I gone there, and all four were in use. And it's not really an emergency. Usually when I can't really say that. Depends how long you wait. But it was fine. So the first time, so where was I? So 20 minutes in, I start feeling the effects of the psychedelic. So my eyes are closed, it's all dark, and the sound is sort of just on a different level. I'm on a different level, like listening in the sound. It's crazy. It's like all the jungle, like the sound of the jungle, all the birds, the insects. There was this one bird I kept hearing sound like a water droplet in an empty room, like whoop, and I would hear it, and then the sound of the jungle would rise, and then it would lower, and then I would hear it again, and the jungle would rise, and it would lower, and it was like this bird, this mating call was the conductor of this orchestra that was just like playing this music, and it sounded incredible. The jungle sounds amazing sober, but when you're on ayahuasca, it really sounds amazing. And around this point, around 20-30 minutes in, is when the shamans start doing their icaros. So it's their shaman songs. And when I was on it in that first time, and I was focusing on all those sounds, and then the sound of the icaros started, and it just intensifies everything. Like my body was like trying to vibrate out of itself. I could feel it trying to like this really heavy this really heavy quick vibration, and it's like my body was trying to, or my soul, whatever you want to call it, was trying to leave the physical body, and it just couldn't. It was like hitting this glass ceiling, and I just couldn't get out. And the more I try to focus on it, the more I could start feeling my stomach hurting, and ayahuasca just turning in my stomach, and knowing I had to go to the washroom, and it wasn't just vomit. We were each given buckets in the Maloka, so I mean it's expected you to vomit. I think almost everybody vomits at some point. Not every time, but I mean if you do it 3 or 4 times, which is sort of kind of what the recommended first try is. In all likelihood, you're gonna barf in your butt. But some people also poo and come out the other way. And the first ceremony, that was my problem. 3 or 4 times I would get up, go to the washroom, and then not have to go. Then I have to go back to the Maloka, and 20 minutes later I'd feel it again, have to get up, go to the washroom, and nothing would happen. And because of my anxiety, I felt like people were watching me as I was getting up and leaving and coming back and getting up and leaving. And even though nobody was, and if people were, who cares? No one's gonna remember that part of the experience, because it's so insignificant. and people go to the washroom, like that's why they're there. So it just, the whole thing was ridiculous. But still, I was getting self-conscious about this. And by the fourth time, I was stubborn. I felt like I was being tested, but I wasn't ready. Like I did not want to leave the washroom until something happened. It sounds hilarious to say, but I was like, please just let me take this shit. And then I will do whatever you want me to. Just let me take this shit and let me go back to the Maloka. Because I was missing half the ceremony. At one point, actually, I think that during the fourth time, one of the helpers came by, knocked on the door, and asked her if everything was fine. Because I'd probably been there for like 30 minutes or so. Then finally, there was like an unleashing. It was disgusting. But weirdly, before that, my eyes were closed at this point, but I saw like a flash of an indigenous tribe. They looked almost Peruvian in a way, and they had these really gross, these like yellow teeth, and they're all smiling. It was disgusting. And then that's when like that gross image of that for some reason made me evacuate my bowels. Finally, I shit. Then I went back to the Maloka, and around this time, I was approached by one of the helpers, and it was my turn to get up and have an ikaro sung to me. So each person at one point during the night is asked if they want to get up and have a song sung to you directly from the shaman. Like, so each shaman, I believe before the ceremony, depending on what your intention is, certain shamans kind of specialize in, I guess, certain areas. So, because I got the same shaman all 3 nights, and he sung the same song all 3 nights, and other people got different shamans that sung different songs. So I think mine was directly related to the anxiety disorder, and so we're told by them that they're told that they are taught the songs by the plants. The plants somehow teach them. Whether that's actually that's usually on ayahuasca. So when they're on ayahuasca, once they do enough times and they practice with the medicine, these plants start teaching them songs to help people, which is crazy. I'm not saying that I don't believe it, or I do believe it, either way. But it's still just insane that they learn these songs and that's how they get it. So I'm having this song sung to me, and I'm trying to focus in on the song, because we're told to focus in on what they're singing to you, and it can help. It can just help with the experience or help with whatever healing you need. So I was doing that. But weirdly, I wasn't feeling much by this time. So I mean, this was almost 4 hours in at this point. So each ceremony lasts 4 hours. So this was right near the end of it. And the ayahuasca had worn off at this point for me. So I wasn't really feeling anything with my song. So whatever, that was fine. I went back to my mat. And then about that time is when Joe, one of the shamans from Arizona State, I believe. And he's a doctor, and then he decided to open up this place with Ricardo, who's the head shaman. Joe announces the end of the ceremony. We're told that we can go back to our rooms or stay in the Maloka and sleep there. I think I stayed in the Maloka for a bit, and then I had decided I can't fall asleep there, so I went back to my room. So the next day, everybody's talking about their experience. Kind of have like a circle in the Maloka the next morning to each of us discuss what we experienced, and the shamans are there to help you interpret what it may mean. So the next day it was weird. There are people that are feeling amazing, like after the night, just feeling really happy, and like they've been unloaded with whatever energy, negativity they had. But oddly, I felt like I had been reset back to a depressed version of myself. Because I had arrived at the ayahuasca retreat completely happy, like on a high from this adventure that we were on in the Amazon, and then that first ceremony had like reset me back to like, oh yeah, you got the shit you got to deal with, so you have to feel like shit. So I felt like shit. That worked. And the next day we didn't drink, so that was a full day of no drinking. The food there is really plain, really not appetizing at all. It's supposed to help with how ayahuasca works on you. I guess the more you desensitize yourself just to stimulation in general. So there's no sex, no sugar, no salt, no seasoning, no dairy. Like already there's like every food group. I mean, even caffeine counts as a drug, so there's no caffeine, there's no coffee. Yeah, so that was crazy. The food isn't the greatest, but whatever. It's supposed to help with the experience. But also that next day, we had to take the what's it called? The vomitiva. Do you know what that does? So the vomitiva is supposed to clear you out before your ceremony. We were supposed to have it done the first night, but we got there too late that we couldn't do it before. We didn't have enough time to do it before the ceremony because it can last it may not work for like 4 hours. But it is so gross. I just think about how I could taste it. I can't even know how to describe that. It's like a watered down milky soup. It's just like very weedy, I guess, very earthy. Ugh. No. And I guess it did a job because so we were all standing around there for just an hour. I'm like, oh my god, hurry up. We're all just waiting to want to feel like we have to barf. It's the worst knowing that you're gonna barf soon. You're gonna have the feeling of wanting to barf, but you don't know when it's coming. Because many times you throw up not knowing it's about to come. You just ugh. But this is it's coming. We know it's coming. When am I gonna feel it? When am I gonna feel it? And then, so it took me about an hour. And oddly enough, it came out my ass as well. I don't even think I think I barfed a little bit, and then it just cleaned me out the rest of the way. Everything was cleaning me out. And then the next day, we either had the vomitiva on the same day as the second ceremony or the day before. I don't remember, but regardless. So the second ceremony, which was on Thursday of that week. So I go into this one. We don't talk to the shamans about our intention beforehand, but we still have to visualize it and think about it when we're drinking the ayahuasca. So my intent for this one was to more open myself up and just have whatever healing I need done to me, just to have it done. Because I felt like maybe I had been too specific in the first ceremony. I didn't want to be that specific again. A lot of people come thinking they know what healing they need, and then they end up getting something else anyway. So just give me what you need or what I need. So I sat down, maybe 20, 30 minutes in. I was laying down on my mat, and then I could feel this energy start to scan my body. And it felt like I was on a surgeon's table, and all the lights are on me and being analyzed, and I just don't want to move. I don't want to even move at all. Not that I'm scared that I'm going to get hurt or anything if I move, but it's just I'm being looked at right now. Why would I move? I just wasn't even thinking about it. So I could feel this energy. I didn't open my eyes at all, but it felt like it was just this ball of energy. I could feel its aura almost, the vibration of it. So yeah, I could feel this energy start to scan my body. And it was going up, and it's I could feel the light scanning me. I could feel it just looking into me. And then it got to my heart, and it stopped over my heart. And then my heart, I could feel physically my heart started to warm up. I could just feel the warmth coming off it. And then it kept scanning up, and then it ended over my right brain, and then it scanned my right brain, and same thing. My right brain heated up. And then it went away. And once I could feel energy just kind of go away, this immense happiness just ran over me. I was so happy. I was laughing. I was I was writing in my head. I was writing SNL skits and stand-up comedy bits based on ayahuasca. It was so weird. I wish I had some of them. I wish I had written any of those down because they were hilarious to me at the time. I'm wondering if they were funny at all. But yeah, as I was writing these skits in my head, I was laughing, trying to laugh to myself because I could hear other people around me crying and vomiting in their buckets, and here I am wanting to laugh like a hyena, just loving life. An hour and a half in, just when everyone else is starting to have intense experiences, here I am, mine's over, and I'm just cracking up. Um, and then later on, there's a, I still haven't figured out what the sound was, but so we have security guards, or there's security guards that are guarding the resort, and every night I would hear, I swear it was a gunshot, like off in the distance, like just like a poop, like it sounded like someone was doing like target practice or something, but it was totally gunshot, and I swear people were like, "What are you talking about? I didn't hear that," but I swear to God it was a gunshot. Um, and so I hear this gunshot, and then there's these turkeys that are around camp. Every time a gunshot would go, the turkeys would go, and it was so funny to me at the time. I was laughing and I was trying to hold it in while people were like, and like crying, and I was just like laughing, like, oh my god, this is too funny. And then I don't know, around this time when all this happiness started, not die off, but just kind of like regulate a bit. That's when I barfed on my bucket, and I just felt better. I just felt so much better. I think, yeah, I don't think I did any of the purging that night. It was just that, like, the one vomit. I did ask for a second drink 'cause my experience was over in an hour and a half, and there's still a lot of time left in the ceremony. So I asked for another drink. Just I don't regret asking for it, but at the same time, it didn't do anything for me. I felt nauseous the whole time. But I'm glad I at least took it, knowing what it was, because I rather know what happened than wonder what would have happened. So I'm glad I took that second drink, but it was just nausea, and I don't even think I threw up off that one. I was just like sick, but that eventually went away, and I think I went back and slept in the room again that night. I may have slept in the Maloka that night, or at least till like 6. But so yeah, so that was the second ceremony. After the second ceremony, I was feeling a lot more uppity, a lot better. Definitely not the depressed person I was the day before. So the third ceremony, my intention going to that one, I mean, at this point I didn't know if I had been cured of anxiety yet, and I wasn't. I mean, my other main reason was career, so I wasn't sure where my career was going to go, or where I wanted to go. I don't know what I wanted to do. So my intention was to kind of figure that out in the third ceremony, but at the same time, I also wanted to be open because I wasn't sure what I was going to get. What I really wanted was visions. I really wanted to really see something because people were having intense visions of like experiences where they're just there and they're in some other realm and in some other crazy place, and I wasn't having any of that at all. My experience was a lot, I guess, tamer, you could say, but still did a lot of healing just in terms of the actual experience itself. Definitely tamer than what a lot of people experienced. So this third ceremony was interesting. I just got angry. It was maybe like an hour in. I wasn't feeling anything. I was feeling nauseous, like just sick. Like the second time I drank the second ceremony, I didn't know what to do. Like I was concentrating on different topics, trying to see if it would go anywhere, if my mind would go anywhere. I was just getting nothing. I was just frustrated. I'm like, this is bullshit. I was just thinking everyone's a fucking phony. Fuck all these people. They're all full of shit. No one's seeing anything. I was getting pissed off, like just to myself, but I was getting so angry. And then at some point it was my song, and at this point I'm not feeling anything right. So I'm like, nothing's happening in this fucking song. I sit down in front of the shaman. He starts singing, and we each bring our buckets with us because we're told to bring them with us for our song because that's when a lot of people vomit. So I brought mine with me, and so we started to sing, and I started to feel really depressed, like really sad, like this intense sadness, like almost feeling like I guess you could say Mother Ayahuasca or an entity or something was like looking down on me and feeling bad for what I had felt, like trying to re-experience those experiences to feel how I had felt in different bouts of sadness or depression or whatever negative experience I had. And it was like this entity that was like feeling sorry for me and feeling bad that I had gone through this. And it was almost like allowing me to accept that it's okay to feel bad about things that aren't the worst things in the world. It's still completely legitimate to feel bad about things. So I don't know, it was allowing me to feel this, and I was tearing up in my bucket. Like I wanted to really cry, but I couldn't quite get to that point. But it felt like I was there, and he's singing the song, and it's really hitting me for the first time. And it's just, and I can't even like control it. I can't even control what I'm feeling at the time. Yeah, so I spit a bit and vomit. But once I got back to my mat, once the song was over, I went back to my mat, put the bucket down. I'm like, all right, I have to go to the washroom. So I didn't run, but I quickly walked to the washroom, opened the door, thinking I was maybe taking a shit. But I opened the door and just vomit right in the toilet. And I mean, I could have vomited in my bucket in the Maloka, but I guess I didn't feel like that it was going to be vomit. I barfed right in the toilet. It was good aim, actually, considering I was high on ayahuasca. But and then I felt fine. I felt like kind of back to normal. I wasn't nauseous anymore. I wasn't feeling depressed. I wasn't ultra crazy happy like the night before. But I felt content. I was good. And then I started to think through all the stuff I had accomplished despite this anxiety problem. And it kind of gave me confidence in a way to be like, look, you did all this despite having this problem. So now just imagine if you don't have this problem, because anxiety is just a state of mind. Just remove yourself from that state of mind. That's all it is. It's just your mind playing tricks on you. And if you recognize that it's playing tricks on you, and are able to overcome it, then just imagine how much more you can actually do. So I was kind of going over that in my mind and coming to my own realizations. I don't feel like I was being given knowledge by anything, but that experience had allowed me to come to my own realizations about things. Anyway, it's stuff that I had thought about before. Like, it's not like I had just realized that I had done these things, but it kind of put it in a context where I was looking at it while trying to fix my anxiety disorder that I had blamed for the problems that I had experienced. But it was like, yo, what problems? You did all this stuff. So don't worry too much about it. So yeah, that was cool. Didn't have any visions like I wanted to, but I mean, a vision's a vision. Like it's really hard to put a price on actual improvement in your life, actual knowledge from something than just seeing something crazy. Oh, actually, one thing I forgot to mention about my second ceremony, which was pretty rad. So after I had started to feel really happy about everything, my body started to involuntarily dance. Like, I was laying on the mat, and it would just, my body would start vibrating to these songs. But it knew the songs. Like my body was basically dancing on the mat, and I wasn't even controlling it. It was just like doing it itself. That was really odd, really cool. I was kind of just this. I was just this disembodied head, just like looking, what was going on, just having no control over my body. And it knew the songs. It knew when the voice was going to change and when the beat was going to drop. It knew what was happening. It was so weird. And then after that's when I had the SNL skits and comedy bits and that sort of thing on ayahuasca. So yeah, I came back home after the ayahuasca, and I guess arrived maybe the day after the last drink, which is a Friday. So Saturday morning and afternoon is when most of the flights take off. So I was gone in the afternoon, but it was an overnight flight to Toronto. So I got back home feeling really happy. I definitely, yeah, I definitely overcome some sort of depression that I had been in probably. I mean, I never got diagnosed for that, but it felt like I was just sad for no reason a lot of the time, and usually that's attributed to depression. But now that was gone, and just feeling really happy. And I mean, since then it wears off, but it wears off until you realize it wears off, and then you think about it, you're like, oh yeah, like why am I thinking about this like this? I should think about this differently. And then you realize you're feeling different, and that's kind of when you put yourself back in this state of, I can be that happy again. I don't need to just have ayahuasca again or something. Which I did. So I had it a fourth time in a city nearby. They have ceremonies, and went with a couple relatives who wanted to try it. So I hadn't really planned on going again that soon, but they wanted to try it. They didn't want to do it alone. It's like, all right, fine, I'll go. I mean, I kind of want to do it again too, but I definitely wouldn't have gone if they didn't want to. But I was curious how it was going to go. I was curious. I really wanted to see something this time. Like I was still on the vision thing. I really wanted to see something. Oddly enough, it was definitely the most tame experience of all of them, because it was really just getting sick the entire night, or just feeling sick, having nausea the entire night. That's all it was. Like I wasn't like in the sweats. I wasn't in terrible pain, but it was just a bit nauseous, and that was it. The entire night. Like if there was something else going on, maybe it'd be worth it, but there wasn't. It was really crammed in this person's basement, like 16 of us, like shoulder to shoulder. It was ridiculous. Yeah, definitely a completely different experience. Obviously, also a fraction of the cost of going to Peru, but I mean, some people have like serious, real experience on them. Neither of my relatives did, but some people had serious experiences where they like saw Mother Ayahuasca, or they saw God, or whatever they want to call the energy. I don't know, just had realizations about themselves and visions about things that happened, memories come up, and I was like, what the fuck was that shit for me? I had none of that. By the time, so the next morning when we all talked about our experience, I was like, yeah, I think I'm done with ayahuasca. Like, the past 3 times I drank nothing. So 3 times including the second time on my second ceremony. So I was like, I'm done with the shit. But now I don't know. I do it again. I would do it, but I would do it in Peru. I would go back to Peru for sure. But I want to go with a friend or family member, because I know there are people who I know who want to try it. Some that I think would really benefit from it. So I would be down with. I'd go down with them. Because that would be an experience. And also, I'm done traveling alone. I've traveled alone enough by like once or twice, but it's traveling with people you know is just more enjoyable. But yeah, so I'll probably go back one day. I'm not sure when. But overall, I mean, I think ayahuasca is totally worth it for you if you. It sounds cheesy to say, but if you like feel the calling to it, like if it really mesmerizes you, I don't even think you need a really good reason. Like I don't think your life needs to be screwed up in some way. You don't need to have some sort of disorder or some problem. Which actually reminds me, one of the things benefits I attributed to ayahuasca, or attribute still to ayahuasca, that I didn't realize I had until I came back, was the fact that I could eat foods that I wasn't able to really process before. Like I was never allergic to any food as far as I know, but onions would, like for example, would really upset my stomach, really give me severe stomach pains and constipation and just whatever. But after ayahuasca, I had fajitas about a week later, and onions were already mixed in with the meat, so I was like, whatever. Sometimes I just eat them because I like the taste of them, but they just bother me. But I had them in nothing, and then I tried again with raw onions in the salad, and same thing. Not like I'm fine, and that's still to say it's like that. So that's I can't explain that any other way. Like unless you want to put that to the diet that I had for a week, but I'm not sure how a diet can completely reset how your system works. So to me that was crazy. And just in general, my whole intestinal system is a lot better, less disturbed than it used to be. I also cut out certain things like sodas entirely. I think soda and even sometimes beer still gives me some pain, but some bloatedness. But I mean, yeah, that was one of the weird benefits of ayahuasca. And just in terms of how I'm feeling, I'm still happier than I was when I left. It sounds depressing. No, but I'm fine. But there's still ups and downs. Like you're not gonna feel amazing every day because you took ayahuasca a few times. Like it's ridiculous. Like you still experience life normally, but it's just that I think you're able to overcome easier. At least I am. I'm able to overcome these lulls a lot easier than I used to be able to. And just staying mindful a lot of the time of right now your mind's in a certain place and it's being attracted to this place because it enjoys feeling this pain. You just have to back yourself away from it and be like, no, I don't want to feel this pain. Or if I want to, I can stop wanting to, but I stop doing it. But yeah, so I mean, it's not a miracle drug that's going to heal everything. And I also wouldn't call it a drug. It's definitely medicine. I mean, so for people that don't know, ayahuasca is it's a vine. It's a vine mixed with DMT leaves. So DMT leaves are a lot of leaves have. I think almost all, or if not all, leaves have DMT in them. But certain ones have more than others. So usually the ones that have more is what they mix with the vine. And the ayahuasca vine is what allows the DMT to be orally active. So usually if you eat one of these leaves, you wouldn't feel anything. But boiled in this pot for hours together, it makes this strength where it allows your body to be able to absorb the DMT that are in the leaves. Which is crazy that out of the thousands of plant lives in the Amazon, they somehow figured out to mix these two together to create ayahuasca. But yeah, so I recommend it. Just know what you're getting into. I would do a lot of research. There is a website online, ayaadvisor.org. If you go there, there are reviews of different ayahuasca centers. I think Pulse Tours is near the top, which is why I chose them. But there's lots of options out there. Pulse Tours now has their own ayahuasca retreat center. So that isn't what I used. They have a shaman who's highly regarded, so I have no doubt that their ayahuasca center would be awesome as well. But the one I used, or the one we went to when we were down there, is Niue Rao. I'll link to that as well, though. So I hope that was entertaining. If you have any questions or comments, feel free to leave them under the video. I'm not going to acknowledge any shitty comments. So if you want to bait me for some reason, I don't know. Maybe I'm annoying. I don't know. Maybe it's my face. But yeah, just let me know. I'll be glad to help out and answer any questions you have. All right. See ya.